Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by the Fancy Six Pack. I am your exhausted host, Nick Z, over here. I am back from Disney. I did not get to see your old stomping grounds, also known as Pleasure Bay or Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island.
Is that what is it still called that?
I have no idea. I could not find it. I did not ask anybody, but yeah, I would assume it would have found me. But I don't know how people do it. The Disney people are a different breed.
Yeah,
they're very much like Dynasty baseball people, where it's kind of their personality, and I get that. Yeah. I have a thing, they have a thing. We don't share things. But Jason, we have a very special cold open question of the week. It involves this box. Sealed. I have not opened it yet.
Okay.
I want you to guess what's inside the box. All right.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Jason, what's in the box?
Man, the opportunities are endless. I'm gonna say one of two things. I'm thinking it's like a Celtics playoffs package, like a season tickets care package, or some sort of Red Sox season ticket package deal thingy. I'm leaning Celtics playoff.
That's a great guess. You're closer with the. Oh my God, this is fucking sick. You're closer with the Red Sox. We have a brand new Portland Sea Dogs hat that is absolutely fire.
Whoa. Is that like a new like alternate logo they're doing this year?
So it's their like old logo. So they wear them every so often. This hat sold out in 12 hours. They dropped a link and they were like sold out. It's corduroy. This is fashion talk here on the On Deck Circle podcast. I know everyone's going to be pumped about that. You can see there's some wave action there. Yep. A nice leather strap. Whew, I'm going to be wearing this. It's tough because it's corduroy, so I can't really wear it during the summer. Yeah. But I'm going to do my dang best. We will have it on for this episode of the On Deck Circle. We just got to make sure it fits out the box, and it doesn't. It's a little tight. We'll get to that. But, Jason, yeah, there was really no question.
The only other quick follow-up I have is the whole Disney thing is a very hot button topic here in our household. Me and my wife are very anti-Disney. We all, as you know, I have 2 younger children that are prime ages for Disney.
Yep.
There's been a lot of family members that are like trying to convince us to go to Disney. And it's like a lot. Like, I don't really want to go. My kids are not like, me and my wife are not like, you were just there. You know how it is, right? Like, it's just insane crowds, insane people. If I were to do any of it, I think I would go to, Universal is what I'm thinking of, where they got like the Mario.
Yep.
I would
Star Wars. Go to Universal. Star Wars is Disney. So that's cool.
Okay.
But yeah, don't. Do you know who was there?
Goofy.
Michael Jordan.
Oh, he's making some waves in the news lately too, which we'll keep.
Hey, we don't judge that.
Yeah, we're not going to belittle Michael. We're not going to belittle Michael Jordan. This is not that podcast. We will not be belittling Michael Jordan's name on this podcast.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. So, what do we
get right into it? We're going to continue our top position talks this week. We're on to our starting pitching prospects. Similar to the outfield, we're going to go and expand a little bit and go to top 10 versus top 5. top 5 pitching prospects. That's boring. Same with outfielders. Got to expand a little bit, go to 10. We're going to do kind of the same thing we did last week with the outfielders. A little bit swap them, though. You're doing 1 through 5. I'm doing 6 through 10. Then obviously we'll round out the episode with the buy and sell at the position as well. Nick was back in his bag this week. He was getting the graphics back and better than ever.
The thumbnail is sick this week.
You mean Tolle with his O face? Yeah, real sick. I saw that. I was like, we just got his O face out here on the thumbnail.
Hold on. I do want to preface this. I was a little bit in my Homer bag as well.
Yeah, I could tell. I was surprised I didn't see an early ranking on here too.
I'm not crazy, but since I did draw the top 5, you had to put Tolle in there.
Yeah,
and I also want to preface, I kind of cheated. All of these guys should be pitching this season in my top 5.
Yeah,
so it was a little bit easier.
Two of them have already made their debut.
Yeah,
in Yesavage and Tolle. So
yeah, I'm ready to roll. Let's start with Yesavage.
Yeah,
man, he's great. He was awesome during the playoff run, but let's just go under the hood a little bit. Honestly, I was kind of stuck between 1 and 2 because I really like Nolan Mclean. But when it comes to Trey Yesavage, he is a pitcher. He went to East Carolina University. Last season, he pitched in 3 games for 14 innings with the big club, mostly in the playoffs. Was great. Give me 1 second. I did a very poor job at opening up the correct tabs today. But that's fine because we have time.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of fill the time, the space a little bit. Yesavage was almost like a rookie debut performance in the playoffs last year to rival any of those in the past. I mean, that was what he did in the playoffs last year was phenomenal.
Yeah, he really he started last season in Single A and he made it all the way to the majors. He had 99 under 100 innings pitched, which is crazy when you're playing that much baseball. Well, for that many teams at least. So 7 games in Double-A, 4 games in High A, 8 games in Double-A. Oh no, 7 games in Single A. What's the difference between A and A plus? Is that just High A?
Yeah, low A and High A.
Yeah. So 4 games in High A, 8 games in Double-A, 4 games in Triple-A. So basically, that time in Triple-A was really just kind of like, all right, let's just rare you to go here. But the big stage was not too much for him. 3 games, started 3. Did have ERA. What the heck? None of my tabs. Oh, ERA of 3.21. And yeah, we all saw that he was great. I do say I think the hype on him is a little bit crazy, strictly because it was like the playoffs. So he kind of has that playoff credibility already. But yeah, I expect him to be pitching out of the rotation for the Blue Jays this year. What do you got on Trey Yesavage?
No, nothing to kind of piggyback on my thing before what he did in the playoffs. He pitched in 6 games, started 5 of them, and only gave up more than 2 runs in 1 game. That was against Seattle. So, yeah, I mean, I think everyone saw what he did last year in the playoffs, including a 7-inning start at LA, 1 earned run. Just a phenomenal playoff run for him. I look to see what he can do and build on that performance in 2026.
Yeah, so going on to my next guy, I think we're gonna start. I mean, we're gonna talk about a couple Mets tonight, but Nolan Mclean is really like the beginning of the pitching factory of the Mets kind of coming back again. Like we remember, like unfortunately, the Harveys, the DeGroms, the Wheelers. I think this iteration is really gonna like rear its head this season. We had him. He pitched 8 games for the Mets last year. ERA under 4, which is under 3. I'm sorry, at 2.06. I think we could really see like a huge breakout here, and this could be a guy that we're drafting in the high, like top 25 pitcher going into next season. 6 pitch mix with a sinker, sweeper, curve, fastball, change, cutter. Just a real. He really knows how to pitch. I feel like we currently are in the era of throwing, and he's someone that I think is really just a pitcher. And I'm excited to see a full season of him. His expected ERA is 85th, was 85th percentile. Wasn't like a huge velo guy, which honestly like isn't terrible. And when I say isn't huge, he's still getting high 90s. But when you see these guys pumping the 99, 101, that's kind of when you're like, could we just dial it back and do a little bit less strain on the arm? But yeah, I was very close to putting him 1 here. But I think the postseason kind of gave Yesavage the edge for me. But it would not surprise me if Mclean's the best pitcher out of all of these prospects.
Yeah, the biggest thing is when he went and made his debut for the Mets, he didn't really miss a beat from what he was doing in the minor league level. The K rate still was high. The walk rate was still really, really low. Really proved that he, wasn't a fluke what was going on at the minor league level when he made his debut. Kind of stayed in line with what he was doing all year long. So that kind of goes to show you what kind of pitcher he is. He's very consistent and should continue to develop and even more as this year goes on.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, real quick, you did mess up the graphic a little bit. You didn't switch our name and your name, my name and your name.
Oh, damn it.
That's all right.
Shut down the podcast. Brutal. I wouldn't have even noticed. All right. Jason, you're a really big Peyton Tolle fan. All right. So now on to my guy, who realistically should be on Jason's list, but that's fine. Peyton Tolle, really just one of these guys out of the pitching factory that is the Boston Red Sox as of late. They're really just developing the pitching. Unfortunately, kind of relies on the fastball like a lot. It is a very good fastball, but he's going to have to learn how to pitch around things without just like in his how many games? In his 7 games, he threw the fastball 64% of the time. So that's something that we do need to kind of chill out on because major league hitters will hit that fastball. His extension is 99th percentile, that's kind of my advanced stat of 2026 is the arm extension, because that seems to be a thing. I remember we used to do the segment where Professor Dave would explain these advanced metrics to me. So we might need him to come back and explain extension. But yeah, man, his numbers weren't amazing, if we're being completely honest. In his small sample, he did have a 6 ERA. I was hoping that he would get a chance this year in the rotation. Unsure if that's actually going to happen. There's so deep with pitching, which again isn't a bad thing. Really do not want them to trade him because, as you can tell by our amazing thumbnail, the guy's a hoss. He's a great player, great story too. So yeah, Tolle, it is somewhat of a homer pick, but the talent is there, the fastball is there, the mustache is there, and the O face is allegedly there.
Yeah, no, I don't mind Tolle being on the list. I think he probably, could obviously the homerism bumped him up a little bit, but still he performed, pretty well last year too, so I can kind of see that. And he may not, start the season in the rotation, but he'll definitely be up earlier than later. He's like probably the first man up, I would assume, for Boston once they need another player, which they will. I mean, every team needs more than 5, 6, 7 starters. So yeah, I like Tolle a lot, and the 3 is a little egregious, but that's debatable. That's debatable, like most prospect rankings. So,
Hey,
but I'm not. Hey, it's your 1 through 5, so I'm not.
It's my 1 through 5.
Yeah,
you're lucky he's not 1. He almost was 1. Jason.
I wouldn't be shocked actually.
All right, next one. This is a tough one. Then the next 2 are really tough for me because I'm going to use something that I use often. And that's prospect fatigue. Bubba Chandler is very much that for me. I feel like last year we were touting him as pick him at the end of all of your NFBC drafts. Do this. He's going to play. And then he didn't. Injuries because it's Pittsburgh. It just kind of is what it is. I will say that, again, he could be the best pitcher here. It's just all kind of a crapshoot when it comes to him. He is someone that tops out at that 9,900 mile per hour. One more second. This is the worst I have ever done. I apologize, Jason.
No worries.
There's too many people. I'm used to the going back and forth.
Yeah. 5 in a row like that. Maybe next time we have to do like
maybe
odds and evens or something.
Yeah. I do expect Bubba to make the team out of camp, but you know what? Has Pittsburgh surprised us before? Damn.
Yeah.
One more tab.
But Pittsburgh is like becoming not becoming, they have been for a while now, a pitching factory, which then they just ship off. So
yeah.
The development of pitching is there for Pittsburgh. Spoiler to some of the guys later on in the list too. So Pittsburgh knows how to not only identify pitching talent, but they can develop it as well. So Bubba Chandler's another name in the line of pitching prospects coming out of Pittsburgh that are above average and I should excel at the position for sure.
Yeah, great. I have all my tabs. I'm back. All right. So Bubba pitched how many games last season, Jason? 7 games. And he got a save.
He only started in 4 of them.
Yes,
at the end of the year, they kind of gave him a little bit more of a run when they were basically out of it at the end of September. But yeah, injuries were a big, obviously, issue with Chandler in 2025. So if he can stay healthy, though, I mean, he's electric.
He is. Again, in those 7 games, it was a just over 4 ERA in 31 innings, 31 strikeouts. Again, he had that big fastball. I really do love when teams bring up their top pitching prospects and just ease them into the bullpen. I feel like that's kind of what needs to happen. Like towards the tail end of the year, you say, you know what, let's bring up XYZ and do that. 98th percentile in fastball velo, as we stated before, throws absolute gas. He does really rely on that fastball, which, again, if you're throwing it that hard, I understand why you're relying on it, but he's going to have to learn to not rely on it.
Yeah. I feel like he needs to use that to set up his secondary pitches instead of just like throwing it. Yeah, I mean, he throws it 55% of the time last year. So if you can rely on some of the secondary offerings, I mean, he'll be, unhittable to the extent of like, I mean, a lot of these power pitchers that are on this list, kind of the same thing, right? Like that's the new workhorse, top rotation arm is that power pitcher that throws 100 and then sets you up for change-ups and off-speed pitches.
Yeah. What's that advanced metric that I told you I was in on?
Extensions.
You know who has bad extension?
Bubba Chandler?
Bubba Chandler. 61 percentile of extension. So therefore, I am out on Bubba Chandler. No, I'm not. But again, he is someone that, like all of these guys, grain of salt because they are indeed all pitching prospects. I don't know if I can see him being an ace, not just because Paul Skeens is on his team, but I think we could see like a high K SP3, maybe low end SP2.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with honestly the most annoying person on this list, Mr. Andrew Painter. Do you know what my favorite part about Andrew Painter is, Jason? It is that he already got Tommy John. The best part about any pitching prospect is just to get Tommy John out of the way. I do believe we will see him this season, 2026. And he's 22. Again, kind of someone that I'm tired of, but that's just because we've known him since he's been 18, which is ridiculous that 4 years and you can like somewhat be tired of a prospect. But I do really like the fit with the Phillies. I currently think he slates in towards the end of their rotation, especially with the Ranger Suarez leaving. It seems like the Phils are kind of giving him any chance to make the team. It seems to be in his own hands. Yeah, what do you got on Andrew Painter?
Yeah, this one's kind of what we called about earlier, prospect fatigue. We've been talking about him for a while now, and actually, like, a little bit of an alarming thing with Painter is he really hasn't been the same since coming back from Tommy John. The ERA is highly inflated. The strikeout numbers have kind of taken a dip, which obviously the strikeout numbers were at low A, low levels of the minors. So obviously those are going to be highly inflated. But yeah, I mean, he's kind of just been hovering around a strikeout per inning, which is nothing to scoff at, right? But that used to be his calling card, was the strikeout rates that he was getting. And now he's kind of, more around like 9K per nine. The ERA's been highly inflated as well. But if someone can just hone in some of those abilities that he has, and sometimes, especially with a guy, getting Tommy John, it may take him a few seasons or a little bit longer. Not everyone, responds the same to that surgery. So I definitely think he belongs, right in the middle of this list, because, we're not too far off from what, maybe like a year or two ago, or it's probably been like 3 years now. He was the number one pitching prospect in all of baseball. So, the ability's there. Just kind of like to see him hone it in and try to, get back to his true form that we saw prior to the Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, I'm interested in, I feel like there's I want to see a metric of Tommy John 2 years later, because I kind of feel like it's one of those type of things where he's learning to use his arm again,
Right.
So I think this year, he had an ERA over 5, and that's not something that we're used to seeing from him. So you kind of almost just got to make it a wash and just see what happens this season. I would definitely trade him though, if I were anybody.
Yeah, I would definitely sell while you can. I'm not saying that he's going to be bad, but I don't think the ceiling is quite as high as we thought it once was for Andrew Painter.
Yeah.
Well, that rounds out your top 5. So now we'll get into the back half of the top 10, and we'll get off with one of my favorite pitching prospects in all of baseball right now, and that's a little bit of homerism. That's Ryan Sloan. And I say homerism not because he's a Cub fan or on the Cubs, but he's from Elmhurst, Illinois, which is actually in a town where I work at. So the high school that he's from is a short, 15, 20-minute drive from my house. I did not get to see him live in person, but when he was drafted 2 years ago, it was kind of like, oh, wow, he's right from, real close local kid here. But yeah, he was the Mariners' second-round pick in 2024, 55th overall. Got a really nice fastball, which is in the upper 90s. Secondary pitches are slider, which also is a very nice above-average pitch. Changeup shows some potential, but it's got still got a little bit of development on the changeup. He has a nice ability to command the strike zone. Gets nice low walk rates, so kind of challenges hitters. He did start last year in his first full year at low A, got promoted to high A at some point in the year. He ended the season with a 3.7 ERA, a 1.15 whip, 77 strikeouts in 70 innings. So strikeout numbers aren't quite where we wanted. I kind of just knocked Andrew Painter for that same one, 50 strikeout per inning. But Still only 20 years old, so it's a little bit more development. He was drafted right out of, one of the top high school arms in that draft. So we still got some time to develop that. But the metrics include a strong strikeout ratio, solid ERA whip. I think as he gets to kind of develop here, still again only 20 years old, so he's got a few years away from becoming in a debuting it for the Mariners. And the Mariners, of course, he goes to an organization that just continues to churn out top tier pitching prospects. We've seen it.
It's crazy, man.
It's kind of crazy when you look at our list. There's like
3
of the same teams that are continually. There's the Mets, the Pirates, and the Mariners. There's 2 guys. Of the 10, that makes up 6 guys from those teams. So we got a lot of the same organizations that kind of turn out these players, and Ryan Sloan should be on this. Start to climb some of this, especially as some of these guys start to graduate. Tolle, Yesavage, Mclean. The top 5 are basically gonna graduate. So we could be in a world where Sloan is like the number 1 pitching prospect in next year. So I really like the outlook on Sloan, not just because he's a local kid, but I think the ability and the fantasy production could be there as a high end top rotation arm.
Yeah, he really strikes me as kind of a ceiling over floor guy. Like he very much could blow out his arm. I mean, they all could. But like this is very much a boom or bust. But I feel like there's been a lot of helium this spring training. I've seen like a lot of Ryan Sloan content on my Twitter timeline. And I am here for it. He was, I think, want to say like maybe like a 2nd round pick in first year player drafts, like when he was coming out. So this could be you could be sitting on some gold here if you did invest in Sloan at that time. So yeah, all in on Sloan. Almost actually put him in at 5 before Painter instead of Painter.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the proximity kind of bumps Sloan down a little bit. He's only had 1 full season so far as a professional, so he obviously has some years of development to go in the minor league level. But I think we'll be seeing him sooner than later as teams continue to progress their prospects quickly through the minor leagues if they can handle it. So, going to my next guy here. This is someone that I actually really fell in love with last year. Had a huge breakout in 2025. That's Robby Snelling. Left-handed pitcher. He was originally drafted by the Padres in 2022. 39th overall. He quickly established himself, and like I said, in 2020, in 2023, which is his full year. And 2024 was also nice. A little bit of a down year, 2024, and then a huge breakout in 2025. He was part of the deal that sent Tanner Scott to the Padres in 2024. And then once he got, once he kind of got out of San Diego and into the Miami organization, he really, really, took off. Especially after that, 2024 was a little bit of a difficult year, but then once he was dealt at the deadline and got over to Miami system, he really got his effectiveness improved and started to really have a nice breakout. In 2025, which again continue to talk about his breakout season, struck out 166 batters in 136 innings, which ranked among top in all of minors. He posted a 2.51 ERA, limited the home runs, really nice solid control. Performed really well with a promotion to AAA last year with an ERA in the low 1s and still continued that elite strikeout rate. It's got a fastball which kind of sits in the mid 90s, can sometimes reach upper. Got the velocity kind of extended up a little bit in 2005. Curveball is probably his best secondary option. He also has a slider, which he continues to kind of develop, and then changeup, which can be okay at times, but still kind of more of a developmental pitch. But I think, Snelling really took off in 2025, and Miami's got nothing to play for, and they just lost Cabrera. So I think we definitely see him at some point in 2026. If anything more, probably like mid-summer, mid-season, and definitely if not, for sure, late 2026. But if he has a strong spring, I could see them giving him a run here early in the season for sure in 2026. I think he's got a ceiling of a front-of-the-end rotation. Maybe not a 1, but definitely a 2 or 3 for sure.
he's like the perfect. He's probably the safest out of all these guys, and kind of like I want to maybe like the surest thing. Again, doesn't throw too hard, and he doesn't rely on anything too much. He just seems to be using his pitches as opposed to relying on them. Throws strikes. That's kind of where I'm at with young guys. Just make sure he throws strikes. I cannot believe. Imagine if fantasy baseball trades were the same as MLB trades, and you could trade a Tanner Scott for like decent prospects, and then you get one that just booms like this.
Right. That would be like the trade that blows up the group chat where it's like,
yes,
we need to veto this. They're trading like, a late inning relief pitcher for one of the top pitching prospects in the organization. It would be like, it'd go down as a vetoable trade for sure. People would be up in arms in the group chat.
Yeah, he's also kind of boring. I'd say he's like he is what he is. I think you can probably get Snelling cheaper than the three guys behind him, just because he's kind of he is what he is. You know.
Yeah, and I think the more realistic thing is probably a 3 or 4. If he was like on a competitive team, right? If he's on Miami, he's like their 2. But if he's on I don't want to say competitive as high as the Dodgers because he wouldn't even make the rotation. But if he was on a competitive team, I think he's more like a 3 or 4. But I guess it all depends on what organization he he makes his full-time commitment to. But yeah, I still think, like you said, he has a nice floor, so definitely deserve to be in the 7th spot for sure. And what do you know, Nick? Another episode, and this actually rounds out our prospect position talk. And I think you were right. I think we talked about a White Sox prospect in every position that we've covered. Because the next guy, Noah Schultz, left-handed pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, 26th overall pick in the 2022 draft. Similar to Painter and Chandler, this guy's kind of like getting to the point where it's like, been talking to him for a while. He was a prep arm, another local kid, not as local as Ryan Sloan, but still very close to the Chicago suburb area. Noah Schultz was. I remember when he first was drafted, it was like, here was Chris Sale 2.0, which mostly just kind of compared his body type more than like his actual abilities or his his pitching outlook. But very tall, lengthy left-hander. But his fastball close, not quite Chris Sale, but it sits mid-90s. It can get up in the upper 90s at times. Got a nice slider with it, which is his best secondary pitch. Changeup is just average. Still kind of developing the changeup, but in 2024 he did dominate. Posted a 1.4 ERA, 73 strikeouts, 17 walks, and only 61 innings. That was at Double-A. And then 2025 was a little bit of a down year. Saw him kind of take a step back in 2025, which is kind of why he probably wasn't being pushed up this list more. But the control issues were the biggest thing in 2025. The walk rate really jumped up to 15% basically. He did get AAA promotion, promoted mid-season.
It did not go well.
It did not go well once he was promoted to AAA. So that's kind of some things to be concerned about. When you get kind of moved up some of these up into these advanced competitions. Just kind of came out with a really high ERA and nice whip or a high whip for first handful of starts to AAA. So did not respond well to the promotion. I'm curious to see if they bring him back down to Double-A to start 2026, or if they just let him roll with AAA to start the season. But he's still one of the most intriguing prospects. The body type and the ability, I think, kind of lend itself to being a nice ceiling play. And if you can refine that command and just stay healthy, I think he's definitely got a shot of making the rotation at some point. Probably not 2026. If it is, it's a late season call up. Yeah. When the White Sox are out of it. But still, I think the upside's there for Schultz, and I feel like he deserves to be a top 10 pitching prospect. So,
yeah. I don't know about this one. He scares me. I mean, they all scare me.
Yeah.
But that AAA, those AAA numbers are bad.
Yeah.
We're not talking like a 5 ERA. We're talking like a 9 ERA.
Yeah.
So this year will be very telling. I think this is kind of going to be either. I think he either makes the big league club at some point this year and he graduates, or he's off of this list altogether. So next year we will not be talking about Noah Schultz on this show. We might be talking about him on a breakout show because he will exhaust his prospect. What's the word?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, whatever the threshold
eligibility,
the threshold eligibility. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this will definitely be a make or break year for Schultz. If he continues to struggle this year, I think he basically will fall off.
Or you throw him in the bullpen.
Yeah, he might be. He might have to. Every bullpen arm is a failed starter, right? So it's like, it's
nobody wants to be a bullpen arm,
right? Yeah. I'd say 99% of bullpen arms are all failed starters. There's obviously those select few that have kind of taken that path in the college years, which is also a minor league system. So I guess, yeah, I mean, any bullpen arm is majority a failed starter. So this will be a huge year for Schultz for sure.
Yeah. Snelling and Schultz could not be more different.
Yeah.
The exact polar opposites of each other.
Yeah. All right. These last two guys here, I know we talked about
these two guys.
We talked a lot about these guys a couple episodes ago when we did our first year player draft, and I didn't want to really include them, but it was just like the upside for both Kade Anderson and Seth Hernandez it's just too good of upside to not have them in the top 10. So I ultimately put them there. Could they have been left off? Yeah, because they have not made the pro debut. Especially Hernandez is coming out of high school, so I could see him maybe kind of falling off the list, but I just felt like his upside in that organization is just too good to not be in the top 10. But yeah, number 9, Kade Anderson. We talked a bunch about it. If you want to, get our huge in-depth about Kade Anderson, go watch our first year player draft ranking episode. He was the number 3 overall last year's draft. Really nice year at LSU in 2025. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. Again, the 2025 season, he had 180 strikeouts, which was the most in D1 NCAA last year. He only had 35 walks. So the upside you can see is huge for Anderson. Again, I'm not going to get down in huge depth with Anderson. We talked about a ton already. The upside's there in another sick organization with the Mariners, who continue to develop an insane pitching organization, and they just know how to really develop those guys. And then you get basically the top college pitcher. Arguably, there's some guys that Liam Doyle and some other people there that were. I think Kade Anderson was the best college pitcher last year's draft. So that was number 9. Seth Hernandez, same concept. We talked a bunch about him in the 2025 first year player draft. The upside's huge. Him only being a high school, though, I could see where some people might kind of put him down a little bit. Got a ceiling of like a number 2, number 3 guy. Really high end velocity, fastball, changeup, curveball, slider. Fastball is obviously his best pitch with the high end velocity. As a senior last year in high school, 9-1 record, 0.39 ERA in 53 innings, 105 strikeouts. These are the type of egregious numbers you want to see for a top 10 pitching prospect coming out of high school, just mowing down the competition at high school. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to talk about. We're going to talk about a ton about Anderson and Hernandez. Yeah, I wasn't going to include them as a top 10 pitching prospect, but the upside is just too high for both of them to not be included in this list. And we're going to talk about some of the guys that have been, dwindling away in the minors anyways. Take the upside of Anderson and Hernandez in the top 10.
Yeah, I love Kade Anderson. I think we see him at some point this year, which is crazy because Sloan, who has been in the system, we definitely will not. But now we're like, Kade Anderson was just drafted, probably going to see him.
Yeah. So that's becoming more of a norm too, is these
college pitchers, man.
Yeah, the college pitchers getting drafted and then being like Garrett Crochet pitched in 2025 for Tennessee. Not 2025, sorry. In his rookie year, he pitched for Tennessee and the White Sox in the same year, the same calendar year. So
you just don't want to waste the bullets. Like there are only so many throws. Yeah. So I love Anderson. I think Hernandez, we'll be talking about him for the next 3 years on this exact show, and which is great because I think Hernandez again had the highest upside out of all of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, before we get into our breakouts or buys and sells, talk real quick about Fantrax.
Fantrax.
You should be playing all your fantasy baseball, whether it's Dynasty or Redraft. Dynasty, for sure, you should be playing on Fantrax. You can either start a new league over there, or you can move your league over there for free. You can sign up over there at fantrax.com/fantasy six-pack. You're doing not only you, but your whole league a disservice by not playing on Fantrax for sure. I've been playing on Fantrax for probably closer to 15 years now, and it's definitely the premier Dynasty baseball website.
Yeah, I think I'm on year 10. I think this is my 10th year of playing Dynasty baseball in general. So I've only known Fantrax for Dynasty baseball.
Yeah, it's premier spot for sure. All right, well, let's get into some of these buy and sells. I just talked, so why don't we go with your guy first for the buy, and then we'll go to my buy.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to go with Miguel Mendez. This is someone I found last year, just like through Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. And he really broke out last year, but I think this year we see him with the Padres. So across three levels, he had an ERA of 3.22, 118 strikeouts in 95 innings, 29.4% K rate. Whoo, boy, sign me up. Destroyed high A. In July, his ERA was throughout the whole month was 0.00. I believe that was 3 games started. Got promoted to Double A after that. Did kind of have some hiccups in Double A, but we've got a mid-90s fastball, a 6 slider, above average change. In his Double A debut, he got 11 strikeouts, topped out at 99 miles per hour with 20 whiffs. Just sign me up for all of that. One thing that I love about this guy, he was signed in 2021. He started pitching 6 months before he was signed.
Love that.
Love that. Because as we were just talking about wasting bullets, that's his arm was fresh. It was great. I will say the walk rate is a bit concerning. Last year it was at 11%. Obviously, you can kind of learn command as you go. But yeah, it's the fastball, it's the slider. Just kind of gotta hope the Padres don't trade him like they did Robby Snelling for a reliever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like the Mendez pick for sure. Definitely one of those guys that kind of just came out of nowhere last year and really kind of started catapulting up some of these rankings and these deeper dynasty rankings for sure when it comes to the pitching prospects. All right, well, my guy's not necessarily a breakout because we already saw him. I think I took it more along the lines of somebody you might try to buy. And that's Jonah Tong, mostly because I don't know if you remembered last year, but I think some people may have soured on Tong after that just abysmal MLB debut. In 2025, he ended the season in September with the Mets and just had an awful time. 5 starts. He had a 7.71 ERA, a 3.08 batting average against. He gave up 3 home runs in only 18 innings, and he walked 10% of the batters he faced. But if you look back prior to that breakout, I think he may have just been getting a little bit more fatigue. I think those last 18 innings that he pitched at the major league level were a career high. He'd never pitched above 113 innings, which is what he topped out at in the minors. And then the Mets were like, let's push him a little bit further and bring him all the way up to the majors. Rightfully so. I mean, he had an insane year in 2025 at the minor league level. He had before being debuted, a 1.43 ERA, a 1.6 WHIP. He had an astonishing 41% strikeout rate in the minors before getting drafted, and debuting 148 average against. So I think you might be able to get him on the cheap, just to buy low. Obviously, some guys may be higher than others, but I think you can find a league mate out there that's like, I'm done with Tong. He gave up I think there was, of the 5 starts, I think 4 of them he gave up 5 or more runs, including his debut, which was just awful. So I think you can get a nice buy on Jonah Tong. Not necessarily a breakout, but definitely a buy low opportunity possibility with the dreadful debut.
Yeah, I love Tong. I've been trying to buy him anywhere I've been able to. I actually think I'm gonna try and send some offers out tonight.
Yeah.
And in a few places.
Yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if some people are like, "No, I need more." But there are obviously some guys that look up, what Tong did last year at the major league level and just be kind of soured by it and be looking to offload him for sure.
Yeah, I do think he's one of these young pitchers that this year we're gonna find out who he is. Obviously, we did see last year, but I think this is gonna be his first real spring training, his first real everything. So,
Yep.
did you see the picture of him? I like, how some teams will do like the first day of school picture where they like hold up. It's like year one. He literally looked like he was 12.
I did not see that. I'll have to search that up on
Yes,
Twitter afterwards.
for sure.
All right, well, let's get into our the people we're selling or fading. We'll go with your guy again here, and that's Brody Hopkins.
Yeah, this was kind of a tough one because you legitimately could fade all of these players because there is no such thing as a pitching prospect. But I don't see it here with Hopkins. The Rays, I used to especially be targeting Rays hitters when they're trading for them and all of that. But Hopkins and even pitching in general, I feel like I've kind of gone sour on. I don't know their last, like Taj Bradley was supposed to be a thing. Taj Bradley is most certainly not a thing.
Yep.
He's got some good stuff. He could be a reliever. Again, you can say all these things about all these people. I worry about his control, but if he doesn't get the strikeouts, then I'm out. Which again, you could put any name there. I think we see him like SP3 or like SP4, like a back end guy, which your teams do need. But this we're talking about prospect that has some pedigree here, and like I don't know if it's worth the. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. So I would be trading Hopkins in anywhere I can. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think the Rays are definitely looking to see what they have in Hopkins. They, gave him a non-roster invitation to the spring training this year. The past 2 years, he's made exactly 25 starts in both years and basically capped out at the same amount of innings, 115 and then 116 and 115. So they are looking to see what they have in Hopkins and to see if he can make that jump to the next level. It'll be interesting spring training to see what happens with him. And a lot will be told on the future of Hopkins, whether that be good or bad. At this point, it's probably more likely looking like it might be something to be out on or sell at this point. Especially if he comes up and has like a great spring training, he could be someone that could sell high end for sure.
Yeah.
With a lot of recency bias that everybody has at draft season. All right, we'll go back to end it here on my guy, and that's Jarlin Susana. Someone that I was actually really high on in the past. I've actually acquired him a couple leagues, but I think I might be out after the last 2 seasons. Still really young and he's kind of shown some promise, but right now the control seems to be an issue. The walk rates have been high across some of the stops that he's made in the minor league so far, which has obviously inflated his ERA the past 2 seasons. He's had an ERA above 3.5 the past 2 seasons. And I think ultimately he may be destined to be a bullpen arm, like kind of similar to what we talked about as a failed starter. He's still only basically a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball slider, which obviously we all know can not have longevity as a starter and ultimately ends up being a bullpen arm. Both the fastball and slider are great though. Really high end velocity and a really huge sweeping slider, which are 2 attributes you look for in a relief pitcher. He did hurt himself last year, so he missed a little bit of time with injury, and he's actually set to miss a lot of time this year, probably the first half of the season in 2026 with an injury. So now you're looking at probably not even going to see him till 2027 at some point. And at that point, he may just be a bullpen arm. So I am fading and selling Jarlin Susana as it is right now. I think the ceiling as a closer on a bad team and a setup man for a contending team. That's probably his ceiling.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, like I said, I even acquired him in some leagues like in 2024 because I was super high on him, and then I just haven't really gotten the results I want to see from him, and I think he's ultimately just destined to be a bullpen arm.
And like that's fine.
Yeah,
but it's not what he is. Like if he's a bullpen arm and ranked in the back end of 250, then
right.
Sure, great,
Yeah.
Amazing. But he's not. So
yeah,
I'm totally with you. I would definitely trade him as soon as I can.
And if anything, in dynasty leagues, we should not be rostering prospects that are most likely destined to be a bullpen arm, right? Like you want to, especially with pitching prospects, which we already just talked about earlier. There's no such thing as a pitching prospect. So if you're going to roster pitching prospects, they need to be almost can't miss.
Yeah,
and I just can't do that with Susana anymore.
For sure, man.
All right, Nick, another great episode. That rounds out our prospect talk, and then we'll kind of jump into a little bit of a different layout or outline next week. But until then, we'll talk to you guys next week.
I think a friend is going to join us too.
Ooh, I like to hear that. I love guests.
We'll see. All right, boy. See you.
Thanks, then.